Mm. Hey guys, Andy again, spoken label, my friend here, Andy Acre. Now, Andy's going to read out a couple of pieces for us, two from the collection and two newer pieces, which I don't know. And I'm always, this is great because I get a taste of I don't know, and those perks of the trade. Now, but we do need to drop a trigger warning of this. I'm saying this now before I forget. There's going to be some quite graphic pieces here, so this is not suitable for everybody. If not, if you feel it's not suitable for you, please stop recording now and move on to another episode. Annie, take it away, my friend. I'm looking forward to this.
Okay, so I'm going to read social media, which we've discussed, which is from the pamphlet, and this will actually be the first time I've ever read this one out loud. So this is social media. He shoots girls straight and down like scotch. She skips through his screen like hopscotch. I watch. He strokes his Barbie handful pink. She clutches crotch like a stiff drink. I wink. He coaxes want font neon brash. She catwalks fingers proud as sash. I flash. He incants commands old as prayer. She kneels lip script, bringing God there. I share. He thwacks clapboards, bed as art form. She splays as stage flesh treadboard warm. I platform. He rides red hood hunger wolfish. She, school blushed, sucks red pen bookish. I publish. Okay, so the next poem I'm going to read is, again, another one that we've discussed today, which is Trauma Industrial Complex. And it's after Darren McGrath. And a woman in a waiting bag lives in a sleeping room, thumbing tattered web pages, liking diagnoses, yellow Roman gut spilling, Harrispeck's Insta. She'll be seen in 5 years, and down the hall a psychiatrist is locating a person on an axis where body meets story. Spotlight eyes, wire words, searching to give a biography in a moving line, and in the same clinic, opposite city, an ex-offender is learning to live in his body. 5'9", average, skin sack, universe, hellscape. Tonight he'll sleep in a margin, centering below a teen behind a window grill, pasty pastry face flaking, laptop lit like a display fridge, looking candid-eyed to take his mind out of body and into some kid else's. And some kid, shame like a crawl space, finds comfort in shrinkage. Stuck in a victim story's tunnel, ends a pinprick. It's ironic. The truths are trained, the choice is a light or let it hit you headlit. And the friend she can't help orbiting is Googling, would a narcissist Google this? Copy paste YouTube God's faces into his to mirror his complexity, following Saviour's images like eyes. And his mum, high school geography, needs a map to find the classes, gone past reality, where location is a constellation of satellites, lonely metal elbows jostling. And their future therapists sick of seeing different sheaves, same issues cropping, bundles of isms and ologies, mental health's a hydra, snakes' bodies are roots, like blacklight cabling, and her existing patients ringing from the ICU, voice unplugging, thin with distance, Custer's purgatory. She'll choose life, cliff clinging lemon, and let go by writing this poem. And you, yes, even you, still in that red bed full of promise, broken back mattress, like my pinky, skylight hickey, and that star string, glow dark ceiling, phosphor bleeding. And what we share is light, artificial, harsh, too bright, and in the morning we'll sunrise and quiet our dawning eyes like a stained glass village. We. And now for a couple of new poems, which are slightly different tone to them. So this first one is called Psychogeography. It's a bit of a concrete poem, so I'll try to recreate that. Psychogeography. My dog is a good girl on a straight and narrow path, and a mad animal in an open field. It gave me an idea for a novel, or a series of short stories at least, where the landscapes literally change characters' psychologies. Traversing a tundra, they'd feel flat, act cold, think treelessly. Walking into an office block, their internal monologue would turn corporate and square. Bogged down in a etc. Appalls, I have 40 lines max. You get the picture. The plot would hinge on its settings. My partner, who hates concrete poetry, liked the idea. A good sign. The trouble is, I have this recurring dream where I'm hurtling a car down a motorway and suddenly remember I can't drive. Well, it felt like that in real life when I recalled I don't have the capacity to write long form. Then the inevitable epiphany hit me. Residing within these poems' walls has made my thoughts small. Okay, and now I'm going to read a piece of flash fiction, which is the first story I've written for a while, and I published it in the latest edition of Urban Scrawl. And just to remind everyone, I used to be a postman, so I'm allowed to say I'm allowed to have a bit of a dig at postman. This is called We Live at Number 4. But the postman didn't seem to understand that. We had parcels next door, opposite, in bins, up trees. In our perfectly receptive porch, nothing, nada, nout, not. To be fair, there was no door number when we moved in, just a pewter plaque reading Chassen Square, which seemed an odd name for a house. I bumped into the previous owner at the Barking Dog, and she said she'd never had any problems with parcels. It's funny. When I saw her at the viewing, she was always jut-bone skinny, joints like vertices, but she'd put on half a stone, which suited her, and even her demeanour seemed somehow rounder. House moves can be stressful, I reasoned. There was nothing for it. I bought a number 4 in tasteful white cursive font. It looked like a seagull tangled in the wind against our fresh sea-green door paint. But when I nipped in to grab my phone to take a photo, the 4 was lying there on the doormat. Then when I put it back up and looked through the camera screen at the end of the garden, there was no number to be seen. Over the next few weeks, I bought a range of 4s, increasingly large and tacky, but they went the same way as the parcels, only stranger. In bins, up trees, in the granola box, in the toilet bowl. Reluctantly, I decided to get one of those etched frosted glass panels that are all the rage. True to the fashion, I now had a giant number 4 shouting above the door like a title. Of course, by morning it had turned into Irish lettering. Seymour Murray, which, according to Google, said ironing a 4-leaf clover, meaning a funny or unusual activity. Sadly, the postman didn't speak Gaelic. The Irish saying did change things, though. The house, I can only describe it this way, became boxier. The lovely high ceilings lowered to make the room squat. The arch separating the kitchen and living room shrank to a square space you had to crawl through. Even the furniture developed sharp edges. We kept cutting our legs on our corner sofa, which extended 2 additional sides. And then our bodies. When I caught myself in the bathroom cabinet one morning brushing my teeth, I saw my head was now a hexahedron. My hips became square brackets, my breasts like a cube of jelly on top of a fez. The changes weren't just external. I felt my own self become 4-sided. It felt like flying a kite through a quadrangle, over a quadrumvirate of dons playing a game of Rubik's Scrabble chess cards while being serenaded by a barbershop quartet. A very English square. I now knew to my bones that an Englishman's home is his square, or whether internalized. I was inhabiting the soul of the number 4. I had to speak to the postman urgently. I waited all day at the garden gate in the drizzling rain, preparing a speech to show I understood his predicament. It's a hollow job these days, what with all the targets and the tracking and the privatisation sucking the lifeblood even out of the Royal Red Vans. I didn't get to say any of it because as soon as he clocked me, looking up from his satchel and deep into my quadrilateral eyes, recognition dawned his face. "Oh, you live at number 4," he said, then paused thoughtfully, flicking through a bundle of letters and squinting. "I have a few number 4s on my round. Look, if it's not too much trouble, could you learn to become the colour sea green? Thank you."
Fantastic, Annie. That really was a really interesting, varied set, that, to be honest with you. So, and you can see, it's fascinating now. You see how a writer develops, because obviously, like, the two new pieces, which I've not heard either of those before, they're radically quite different to the way you, from
Yeah.
the pamphlet. So it's going to be, I'm going to be particularly keeping an eye on you if you certainly work, see how it goes next, because it's fascinating, that, because I can see that postman story going on quite a bit more, actually. So,
Okay.
what you wouldn't know is, and I've not told a lot of people this, so you're going to get exclusive now. I'm an ex-postman as well.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I worked in one in the 90s and for a catalogue for them. So it's like it really it really got me that day. And I sat there thinking, yeah, I understand that completely. So
Oh, brilliant.
that's why. So, and I've worked outdoors on when I used to run welfare rights in Bolton. So I'm used to working at extreme temperatures, going to people's houses for appointments, and yeah, that got me as well. So a lot of memories there with that. So, but brilliant. Thank you today for this, Annie. Really, really enjoyed this today. I'm glad we got this booked in. People wondered it took a bit to get this fixed up for various reasons. Thank you.
No, thanks very much, Andy. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, folks, that's it for today. Thank you again, Danny, for another great session. We shall be back next time. And as Don Callis over at AEW Wrestling says, stay safe, stay over. We will see you all soon.